you're cooking mac and cheese in your house, and it's going great. The fire's doing a great job. You have this powerful little fire in your house, and then you start thinking, like, what is this? And you're pretty sure it's natural gas. But where does natural gas come from? I'm Matt. I'm about to learn so much about natural gas. First things first, where do you get natural gas? I'm pretty sure it's in the ground. So what I need is to talk to a specialist about what you find in the ground. I need a geologist. Tara, what is natural gas?
Natural gas is a fossil fuel, meaning it's an organic material formed from heat and pressure over millions of years.
So it didn't start out as natural gas. It started out as other stuff. Yes. What stuff did it start out as?
The energy in natural gas is actually the energy from the sun that was stored in the bodies of plants and animals that were living at that time. As those remains decayed, they built up thick layers. And as those layers got buried deeper and deeper, oil and gas began to form from the heat and pressure that began to rise. As some of those deposits migrated through tiny pores in the rock, other deposits were trapped under impermeable layers, like the Marcellus Shale, the one under West Virginia, which was formed 400 million years ago.
What were those plants and animals like?
It was the Devonian area. So the land consisted primarily of plants, the first trees, and arthropods. And the vast majority of animal life would have existed in the ocean, with the apex predator being this guy.
What? What is that thing? That looks crazy.
This is Dunkleosteus. He would have been 30 feet long and weighed just shy of 4 tons, about the size of an elephant. Its skull was made of interlocking bones, and it could open and close these massive shearing jaws faster than you could blink.
Yikes. So natural gas is actually all of these sort of ancient trees and animals and Dunkleosteuses buried for like 400 million years. It's that old?
Yeah, it's actually twice as old as T-Rex and Amargasaurus here.
Whoa. T-Rex high five. So it turns out actually living in the Devonian era would have been terrifying. Even if you escape Dunkleosteus in the water and you get on land, there are scorpions as big as dogs waiting for you. I don't want to go there anymore. So Tara let me know that if I want natural gas, I have to go way down to get it. I need a huge drill, probably. I found one. When I did, I talked to a guy who races ATVs competitively, and I also got to wear some super cool safety clothes. All right, Dustin, what is going on here?
It's a drilling site to drill for the Marcellus Formation that's really deep below the ground here in West Virginia.
Okay, a geologist was telling me about this, this particular shale rock, and then it's really old. When something is old, it is deep. How deep are you drilling here?
It's about a mile to a mile and a half below the ground.
The tallest building in the world right now is the Burj Khalifa. It is so tall that you could watch the sunset on the lower floor, take an elevator to the top, and then watch the sunset all over again. If I were to be shrunk down to the size that this is, I would be as tall as this paperclip is wide. You would have to stack 4 Burj Khalifas on top of each other to get down as deep as Dustin drills. 1.5 miles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you can picture me, it's a day like today, I'm getting ready to grill. I put in my tiki torch. I get like 4 inches down with that thing, and I'm sweaty, I'm frustrated. How are you drilling 1.5 miles down into the ground?
Very carefully and very safely. When we're drilling these wells, we don't just push something down in the ground and hope for it to produce. We actually make sure we run casing strings in and cement them all fully to surface to protect everything on our way down to our targets, our formation for our Marcellus.
Okay, so when you say string, I'm guessing you don't mean like what I think of when I think of string.
No, I'm not talking about a bowstring that you use something to shoot off of. I'm talking about a solid steel casing string that we run in the well to protect our formations with, and then we pump cement down the inside of them and up the back all the way to surface to make sure everything is protected.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so you're drilling, you drill down, you reach whatever your depth is, you drill down, gas comes up.
Well, we drill down and then out.
Down and out?
Yes, down and then out horizontally through the Marcellus.
It turns out Dustin has all kinds of specialized drilling equipment and bits. He also works with a team of other guys who have really cool job titles like rig hand and tool pusher and mudman. Yes, mudman. Dustin and his crews operate a bunch of different extraction sites and pads that go through multiple stages of drilling down and out and sealing off with concrete, and then they get the natural gas out of the shale rock. All right, so this is a different pad we're on now, and eventually what we were just seeing will look like this.
Yeah, we're currently on a production pad right now as we speak, and we're sitting here looking at production equipment to produce the gas to be able to sell to a pipeline. But in between the drilling and the production stage, we were fracking the well. We visited next door to this pad, and that's where we pump water and sand down hole through the casing into the formation through perforations that we put in there with perf guns.
Okay, so you've drilled down and out horizontally here. How far out do you go to gather that
Well,
gas?
we can go as little as we want. We can go 1,000 feet, or we can go as far as we want, 10,000 feet, or maybe a little bit further than that if we need to be able to match up with opposing patterns and other pads. That helps us maximize the efficiency of the well bores throughout the Marcellus.
Okay, so you're going out like 2 miles
Yes.
in several directions from where we're standing right now.
Yes, we can go 2 to 3 miles out in any direction from the single pad that we're on right now.
So where we are standing is the tip of kind of a literal iceberg of what activity that is happening underneath us right now.
Absolutely.
How much gas can you get drilling like this, extracting it like this?
Well, there is approximately 100 trillion cubic foot of untapped gas reserves in West Virginia, and we're doing our part to tap into every bit of that and extract that gas and produce it out of the Marcellus as we can.
Did you say 100 trillion?
Yes, 100 trillion.
That is not a small number.
No, it's a very large number, and we are very actively pursuing it.
All right. Shale shaker.
Shale shaker. Shale shaker is one of the neat things on the rig, and it's
That's a thing, right?
It sounds
Shale shaker
like
is a
it's a
thing?
dance. It's actually a thing. It sounds like it's a dance or a jig, but it's actually just a mechanical table of sorts with a mesh screen in it to actually run drill fluid over to shake the cuttings out of the drill fluid so we can continue to reuse the drill fluid. And then there's also some other neat things we use, like perforating guns. And you would think, a perforating gun, why are you running a gun down in the hole and shooting guns? Well, it's not the type of gun you think.
Okay.
I mean, they're shots, but they're not bullets. We actually use hollow steel guns, and we put shots inside of them that shoot out through the casing anywhere from 0.3 inches to 0.4 or bigger in diameter of hole sizes, and go, 18 to 24 to 36 inches out into the formation. That gives us a passageway for us to pump that aqueous solution of sand and water and chemicals into the formation so we can prop it open, therefore sand being the proppant, and that way we can extract the gas from that Marcellus.
Okay, so once you've drilled down 2 miles and then out 2 miles, you start firing guns off at intervals back all the way through.
Yes, we go in to complete it and frack it. We shoot guns back through the formation, and then we pump it full of sand and water. That way we can produce it in the end.
And then at the end of, how long does that normally take? Like 2 months, a year?
The whole completion process from moving in a frack crew to being done and moving out can be in the 1 to 2 month range, depending on how many stages in the well.
Okay. And then how long will this be here?
How long will the production phase be here?
Yeah.
It'll be here multiple years until it completely dies down or levels out completely flat. And then we'll still continue to maintain it and produce it as long as we can.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be here a very long time.
Very long time?
Yeah.
Woo! So Dustin said very long time. Let me tell you what very long time means. You couldn't see this, but the whole time that we were filming, Dustin was really nervous because his wife could have gone into labor at literally any moment, and he was kind of checking his phone. His child's child will be around when this well is still producing natural gas. So natural gas, it turns out, is super hard to get to. And this particular method of horizontal drilling and fracturing that Dustin is using is super efficient. It's also super new, the way that they're doing it. So I've got all of this natural gas now, and I have no idea what to do with it. Where do I take this stuff? Mark, tell me your favorite thing about natural gas in West Virginia.
No, the raw natural gas can be broken down into several components. It's not just the methane. You also have propane, which you can heat your house with too. And then you have ethane, pentane, and butane also.
Some of the separation you do is that stuff, like that stuff comes from natural gas.
The plant you see behind us, those are ethane deethanizing towers. We utilize those pressures and temperatures to actually turn the ethane into a gas compound, and the liquids drop down out of it, so the top layer would be your ethane. And so that's how we separate it.
So you make it like the temperature becomes a gas, it rises, and that's why it's in the shape of a tower, because you collect it as it rises. Folks like Mark do all of these different processes to dissect and separate out all of those different pieces that make up natural gas when it comes out of the ground. One of those processes that Mark was telling me about is called ethane cracking, and it's pretty cool. Kevin, what is ethane?
So ethane is a component of natural gas. It's what you normally have that's coming when you're cooking your food and so forth is methane. That's one carbon atom with 4 hydrogens on it.
Okay.
There's lots of other stuff in natural gas when it comes out of the ground. One of those components is ethane. 2 carbon atoms with 6 hydrogen atoms around it. It's about twice the size of methane.
Ethane, larger than methane. What is an ethane cracker?
So an ethane cracker is basically a large vessel, a reactor, like people will see at chemical plants, but it's a
Okay.
pretty large one. It takes ethane, and at very high temperatures, it cracks ethane apart. It actually splits it into 2 different groups. So you have 1 carbon atom going one way, 1 carbon atom going another way. So you
Okay.
crack it open. And
So you
that's why
take
it's
those
called a
2
cracker.
things and it just splits them apart. It cracks them.
Cracks them apart.
Ethane cracker,
Exactly.
ethane cracker.
Exactly.
All right.
And then in what's actually a series of complicated reactions, but to simplify it, the ethane comes back together with a double bond in between those 2 carbon atoms, and that's ethylene. Ethylene is the largest volume petrochemical in the world.
Okay, so when you say ethane cracks, it's high temperatures. How high are the temperatures that you're talking about?
They're like around 850 degrees Celsius, so really hot.
So Celsius, so Fahrenheit, even like.
I don't have the conversion in the top of my head.
Neither do I.
Yeah, so I mean 1,1500 degrees maybe, I'm not sure.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, I'm not
So
sure what that number
super,
is.
super hot.
Super hot.
It is 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
So it's
It's a
so
gas.
hot that it is taking this gas and it is breaking a gas apart.
Exactly. It's breaking the molecules apart. The 2 carbons are actually breaking apart. And now
Okay.
you've got a carbon molecule with 3 hydrogens. It's actually a radical. People think about radicals inside their body. So now
radical? Is it like-
It's radical. And it's so radical that it causes a chain set of reactions that then makes ethylene. Again, 2 carbon atoms with
Okay.
a double bond.
Of this category of chemicals called petrochemicals, of all of the petrochemicals that humans make, ethylene is by far the most common.
It is, and the reason why is that double bond now with that ethylene. It's a very highly reactive molecule. Chemists and chemical engineers like it because you can make lots of stuff with it.
Okay.
And so whoever's watching this right now, the clothes they're wearing, the seat they're sitting on, if they're watching on a TV or a computer or even their iPhone, all those materials probably came from ethylene. Ethylene, you made lots of other chemicals,
Okay.
made all that stuff.
So, wait, all right, back up for a second.
Okay.
Ethane cracking gives me like a bunch of the stuff that I'm putting on my body right now.
Exactly.
The rubber in my shoes.
Yes. Your glasses.
My glasses. Even the lenses in my glasses. These are plastic lenses. I am seeing the world through ethylene right
You
now.
are. That's right.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and without ethylene, you'd be back in the horse and buggy era where, you know, your clothes are wool. You're
Right.
Ben Franklin all over again, right?
Yeah.
So
And that guy invented bifocals.
he invented bifocals.
If he had ethylene, he could have done crazy amounts
He'd
of
have been
stuff.
all over it.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go in a time machine. I'm going back in time. I'm giving Ben Franklin some ethylene.
There you go.
We're gonna ratchet this whole society up a few notches.
Let's do it. Peabody and Sherman, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you guys ever go, release the cracker?
No.
Okay. Kevin is not lying. Once you crack ethane, you can recombine it into all kinds of other materials like ethylene, PVC, polyurethane, materials that can go into all kinds of stuff. Plastics, packaging, adhesive, paints, inks. If you can get your hands on a bunch of ethane, you can go to town on making stuff. I'm not stopping there, okay? I need to see all of the stuff that you can make with ethane with my own eyes. So I went and talked to one of the friendliest people I've met. His name is Joe, and we stood next to a box full of the stuff that you fill bean bags with and had a little conversation. All right, Joe, we're here at Eagle. What is this stuff?
This stuff is commonly known as polyethylene resin. It's a derivative of natural gas.
Does this come out of an ethane cracker, or is there someone even in between an ethane cracker and you guys?
Absolutely. After the cracker, it makes ethylene, and the ethylene then goes through what's called a converter process or a reactor to make the polyethylene. It is then shipped into Eagle by rail car, and then we put it through a process called blow molding.
Blow molding?
Blow
What is
molding.
blow molding?
Blow molding is a process that melts this and combines it with UV protectant,
Okay.
as well as colorant, and we make about 9 different colors of products.
So all this stuff, this blue barrel, this yellow, you add this color into this, and
Right.
it becomes all these different colors of plastics that we see around us.
That's correct.
Earlier, a geologist gave me this toy that depicts an ancient nightmare fish, and is that the same process as this?
Matt, that fish is plastic, and it looks to be injection molded plastic, and it would have been made out of a resin just like this.
So this is made of plastic, which is made of polyethylene, which is made of ethylene, which is made of ethane, which comes from natural gas, which comes from animals that lived that looked exactly like this. This fake ancient fish is made of actual ancient fish.
Absolutely. That fish, in reality, was probably 500 million years old, as was the natural gas through the years.
Natural
It
gas.
now has come full circle to make the plastic, to make the fish.
We're done. That's it. Cut. Woo! After I talked to Joe, I started seeing natural gas everywhere, probably like you are right now. The journey you have to make to get from natural gas in the ground to the stuff that's in your pockets is truly extraordinary, and I genuinely have a different viewpoint on this process having seen it. The most impressive thing that I saw, though, was at every single stage that we went to, everybody we talked to, there were teams and teams, hundreds of specialized people behind them doing this work of extracting and separating and refining and shaping to make all the stuff that's already in our pockets and making up this bowl, and I can't stop myself from seeing it. The most amazing thing that I saw through this whole process was all of the people that at every stage, from extracting to separating and refining and shaping natural gas, we only showed you a handful, but there are teams and teams of hundreds and hundreds of people that are doing these specialized things to get natural gas into your pockets. And they all live and eat hot wings right here in West Virginia. Don't take your natural gas for granted.